What is going on, everybody? It's Alex coming back here in another video, and today we're bringing back a good old classic, the mock. So I was talking with Broshmo because we talk probably around like once or twice a week, and he was just talking about how he was continuing to do mock the mock. I was like, there's people doing mocks out there, obviously besides me, and surprisingly there is. I'm a little bit late. I'm a week late to this one, but I saw 24/7 Sports put up an article about like three Georgia players going or two Georgia players going in the first round. And I was like, what the hell? So it was a day ago. Linked me to this. So you know what? I was like, why not just do a video on it? Let's just go do the first reactions. Glad you guys are sticking with me. I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for being loyal and being awesome the way that you always have been. Obviously, once the season kicks back up, we are going to be doing back to every single damn day. You know the drill. Let's get back into this. So starting off with the number one pick, Houston Texans, Sam Howell. Honestly, we all know that this number one pick is down to three players: Sam Howell, Spencer Rattler, as well as KT. Sam Howell will become this pick only if he is able to overcome losing his top four weapons. That's going to be very, very hard. I believe they got Ty Chandler from Tennessee that might be able to supplement that Michael Carter replacement, but you're losing arguably the best running back duo in the entire country and also his top two wide receivers. So if he's able to do that, this is perfectly fine. We all know that Sam Howell is a very, very talented quarterback, but my opinion on the difference between Sam Howell and Spencer Rattler has definitely shrunk a lot because I love how talented Spencer Rattler is. Just his pure arm talent is unbelievable. So, I mean, speaking of Detroit getting Spencer Rattler, I can't really blame them at all. I really can't. The one thing they don't need really is pass rushers, if we're going to be honest. So, because I think they got enough. We got the Acquire brothers. We also have Flowers, who they invested a shit ton of money into. I can't blame them if this is the pick. Again, realistically, these guys are very talented quarterbacks. I don't think that the quality of this draft on the top is nearly as good as years previous, but this is probably the deepest quarterback class that I have studied in my entire life. So that's just a testament to how talented these quarterbacks are. And if a team like the Texans or Lions pass up on a quarterback to go a different position, just relax because there's a lot of talent in this draft that can be picked up later on, and it would be great. Jacksonville going KT. I can't disagree with it, but I can't at the same time. You got obviously Caleb on Chase on. Is that a reason to get rid of a Chase Young style player? No, not at all. However, it hurts. It hurts to see the Jaguars going KT, knowing how much I love Josh Allen and the potential Caleb on Chase on. I really have nothing to bitch about though. Again, if I were in the Jaguars seat right there, I'd do the same thing. Even if it means basically saying Caleb on Chase on, you're going to be a rotational player. That's okay because you got Chase Young pretty much 2.0, and then you also have Josh Allen, and that's probably one of the most lethal duos. We're talking about Montez Sweat and Chase Young, and you got that new duo right here with KT as well as Josh Allen. For Jets getting Kaiir Elam, you guys know the next guy who's picked definitely should go before Kaiir Elam. However, the idea that the Jets should get a corner is not a bad one. I'm going to give them a little bit of slack on that one. However, I do believe a safety could also sneak into the equation if they don't want to go after a guy like Derek Stingley, which, again, there's no reason why not to. I think that they made the right position move, just wrong player. Again, no disrespect to Kaiir Elam, and I don't think he would even take it as disrespect to say that Derek Stingley is an amazing talent, and some people, the majority of people, have the opinion that Derek Stingley is better, in a marginal amount better than Kaiir Elam, who is still a really great talent. So I think this should be Derek Stingley. However, again, I think they're in the right ballpark. Number 5, Cincinnati Bengals going Derek Stingley. If this happens, you know what? Pop the champagne. It's red and panties night, as Conor McGregor would say. It's a great night. However, the idea that the Bengals should go corner is not a bad one either. Realistically, I think that maybe you can get a guy like Kyle Hamilton to replace Von Bell. But, I mean, I'm just a guy who loves the idea of Kyle Hamilton or Brandon Joseph if he somehow falls to the second round, you want to trade up, and Jesse Bates. I think that'd be disgustingly amazing. However, again, you can't, even if this were Kaiir Elam, I personally would go Evan Neal in that case. I think Evan Neal's absolutely unbelievably talented. However, again, there's some really good defenders in this class. So again, there's no disrespect whatsoever to these players. And this is not a CBS. Like Pro Football Network so far has shown that they at least know a little bit what they're talking about, which I respect. I believe I've done a PFN one before. So this is my second time around, and I think that I had a little bit of respect for them as well. It's better than some of the TDN stuff that comes out, and I have respect for those guys at TDN. Philadelphia Eagles getting Kyle Hamilton. You guys know me. I like to go after Brandon Joseph later on in the draft. However, again, I can't complain. Cannot complain at all. This is where I would look at a quarterback maybe if Malik Willis were there. However, I think that might be a bit too rich. Kyle Hamilton definitely deserving of a top 10 pick, and definitely with the Eagles' potential safety needs with Anthony Harris being gone. And then, if I'm not mistaken, McLeod's the other safety who he won't be great for too long, and he's not that great as it is. I think that would be a good start. Number 7, Giants, Kenyon Green. I know a lot of people think Kenyon Green is the best lineman in the class, and I don't blame you. I really don't. However, you guys know me. I love Evan Neal. I think that, that I actually love him because I actually hated him when I started watching him. And I saw his progression. And if I watched the Ohio State versus Bama game as the first game, I would be like, wow, this guy is a top 15 talent in this year's class. And that's with him playing, jumping around from position to position. And that's without realizing how much he improved. So then you just see his bitch ass split squat when he jumps, it was unbelievable. I personally have that tendency. However, Kenyon Green is an amazing talent. He is able to work with mobile quarterbacks. Obviously, Texas A&M has mobile quarterbacks. I think that Kenyon Green is going to be mainly the glue that holds that Texas A&M offensive line together. Hopefully, Dan Moore can play as well as he does for the Steelers, but that is a very big prayer. That's probably not going to be answered. 8, Falcons getting Karlaftis. This is an interesting one. So Karlaftis has had an injury record, and usually the guys with legit injury records where I think the NFL doesn't factor in concussions the way I do, those guys usually fall. You look at Azeez Ojulari, who I wanted to go to the Falcons last year. The guys like that usually drop, so I think it's a little bit unrealistic to put Karlaftis up this high. He did have 20 tackles for loss as a rookie. I don't know if they actually put that in here, but he is a dominant threat. But Broshmo's not completely high on him. I need to do a bit more studying on Karlaftis to actually have a legit opinion. But from first taste, I think that it's definitely too rich for my taste, especially when you go down in production. Obviously, you can go down a little bit in production, but still be as effective. This is different. He was not nearly as effective as he was as a freshman. That's something that scares the living hell out of me. But again, COVID year, after injuries and stuff, there's room for improvement there, and there's also room for legitimate excuses. Carolina Panthers getting Evan Neal, same situation with the Bengals in that case. Pop the champagne, red panties night. What's up. He's unbelievable. And this is a team that's desperate for a legitimate left tackle because, people are going to defend the kid out of BYU, who I'm literally bugging on his name. Don't even want to think of his name. Brady Christensen. I literally thought of it. As I said, I didn't want to think of it. This is going to be an exponential upgrade. And even if Brady Christensen turns out to be an amazing left tackle, Evan Neal can play any position on the line at an extremely high level. So he might not be great year 1, but I can guarantee you by year 3, he is going to be probably a top 10 tackle in the NFL. Maybe by the end of his first contract, could be vying for that top 3, top 2 best tackle in the NFL. I legit have that feeling. Again, I have to see if he does that same progression this year. He switched to left tackle from right. So we get to see it live this year rather than having to look retrospectively. Number 10, the Giants getting Drake Jackson. Again, somebody who I think is a bit overrated. I need to do a deeper tape dive on these edge guys. So again, I'm not going to give a full opinion on this one. However, I just think the Giants, if they're going to be in this position where they're at number 7, number 10, you don't get 2 linemen. I understand you got Gettleman, but to be 100% honest, you need a quarterback in that case. So I think that's probably the biggest oversight that PFN's done so far, especially in terms of the position. Falcons, I'm okay with them going after pass rush because, again, you can never go wrong with pass rush. unless you have an entirely fully stocked defensive front like the Giants. So I think this was the first big misfire. Again, speaking of Azeez Ojulari, you have to go after quarterback here. Have to. And even if you don't, you go after a different position. Anything but the one position you're pretty much good at. So that's, again, a big oversight in my opinion. Ooh, what the hell? Broncos going Brock Purdy. So just got to make sure this is 7 weeks ago, not 7 years ago, because, I mean, as much love as I can give to Brock Purdy, because I think that he sucked at the beginning. Same thing with Spencer Rattler. He didn't do too great of a job record-wise. I think Spencer Rattler showed through the actual how he played. He was a lot better than what Brock Purdy was doing. But Brock Purdy got carried quite a bit, no pun intended, by his running back. I don't think Brock Purdy is nearly this close to being the number 3 quarterback in the draft class. You have unbelievable talents with Malik Willis, as well as, I mean, if you really want to go balls to the wall with somebody who can lose you some games and then win you some, I mean, look at Matt Corral. That's my personal bias. Again, I know the guy personally. That's why I know he's actually a good guy. He gets stuck in his head sometimes. And that's something that needs to be matured. And he needs to grow up. But it's a team like the Denver Broncos, they desperately need someone like that. You don't need a guy like Brock Purdy. You need somebody who can actually sell out tickets and then make people want to come to a stadium because they're going to see either you light it up or you piss him off. Like he's a box office guy. Or, which I think is even better now after watching him more, Malik Willis is unbelievable. Take him, honestly. Brock Purdy, that's a second oversight. So they so far in the double digits, they're not doing too well. Vegas getting Ahmad Gardner, I cannot blame them at all. I think their secondary is complete garbage. Obviously, game Merrick's good. I don't think Hayward's going to be there for too long, and the rest are, well, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Trayvon Mullen in the first place. So I think Ahmad Gardner's a beast. I'm pretty happy about that. Mr. Sauce, he's good. He's really good. Cardinals going Darian Kendrick. The fact that he's at Georgia is ridiculous. But, yeah, no, it's fine. Obviously, we got to see how Tay Gowan as well as Marco Wilson turn out, because those are both guys where one of them kind of fell because of personality issues, and then the other one fell because of, well, either BS or else because he didn't play last year. Both are definitely worth factoring in there. However, I think that getting a guy like Darian Kendrick, who is very talented and he's shown holes, but he is coming back, and now he's on Georgia, which is going to be excellent. I think Georgia produces better corners than Clemson, and I think history has proven that as well. I think it's a good start, especially for the Cardinals, who desperately need more cornerback help. Malcolm Butler ain't going to survive forever. Washington going JT Daniels. I mean, do you want to continue sticking with this Alex Smith profile? Because I gained a bit more respect for JT after watching him some more. I don't think he's a first-round guy. I don't think he has the athletic talent to be able to be considered there. He has arguably the best team in college, and he did a very good job of utilizing it, and that's wonderful. I just don't think that's a top 15 pick. You know, you're talking about Mac Jones last year. Mac Jones outclassed JT Daniels for the most part. And you know my opinion on Mac Jones. So another big oversight. Vikings getting Zach Harrison. I'm going to be honest. Marcus Whitman, the franchise guy, put this perfectly. Zimmer doesn't like getting high-end talents. He likes getting these lanky guys in round 4 and stuff and developing them. So I am actually switching my stance, although I do believe the Vikings desperately need some extra help on the defensive pass rushing side. I am going to be sticking to realism and say Vikings need to focus somewhere else. I'm super glad that they got Christian Darsaw in the first round. I also think that they could be maybe looking for a guard prospect or something like that. Definitely a different position than defensive end. And then Chargers going Ekwonu. I think that's perfectly fine. They do kind of need a guard, so that isn't a bad choice whatsoever. He and Filer would be a very nasty duo in there. However, there might be some – I got to look at the contracts and everything. There might be a better choice. But, again, cannot complain at all. So, next picks. I know I'm going a bit in depth here, but I think you guys deserve it at this point. We're giving a good, nice, deep, in-depth look. Breece Hall to the Patriots. I think you're kind of underrating Ramondre Stevenson's potential in the squad. The Patriots obviously haven't hit on their early first-round running backs. Breece Hall, I don't feel would fit the Patriots. That's just my honest opinion. if you want to, I guess Breece Hall is great. I'm not saying anything about Breece Hall. I just don't think the Patriots should be trying to target a running back at 17. I think Najee Harris, as well as Travis Etienne. Well, I don't think Travis Etienne is better than Breece Hall. I think Najee Harris for the Steelers is better than Breece Hall for the Patriots. And you saw how far Najee Harris fell. So I think it's a bit unrealistic. The NFL is definitely transferring their ideology more towards push the running backs back because there is really good talent. Xavier Jones for the Rams is probably going to be their starter now that Cam Akers is gone. So, yeah, I mean, what's up. Next, Pittsburgh Steelers getting Carson Strong. I love giving credit where credit's due, but I'm one of the guys who I can't stand Carson Strong right now. Again, I need to do another deep dive into him, but he's one of the few guys that I've really taken a good look at, and I can't find anything I really like about him at this moment. Again, there's Malik Willis on the board, who's right next, which is great for the Philadelphia Eagles, but I'm sorry, Carson Strong. I was going to be putting him as my number 7 quarterback, and I started watching him more. I'm like, I'm not a huge fan of this guy. So, yeah, I think there's big holes in Carson Strong's game, and that doesn't mean that he can't thrust himself up into this first-round conversation. There's no doubt about that at all. I think he could be the Zach Wilson of this draft if he works on his game. However, don't think that's going to happen. So, I think that, again, big misstep right there. I just don't really believe – I don't like his accuracy either from what I've seen. Eagles game Malik Willis, again, the situation, pop the champagne, etc. New Orleans Saints, Chris Olave. Oh, I mean, I think Garrett Wilson's better. I'm actually compiling my wide receiver rankings right now, and this is the big issue. Honestly, I'm not going to take the cheap out here, but I think TDN is the real reason why I'm not putting out as much content for you guys. TDN made it a lot easier to just make rankings without having to do the in-depth scoring grades for you guys, because those in-depth scoring grades should not be BS by me. I want to be able to see and watch them progress and everything. So, I mean, I beside the point, Chris Olave has drop issues. He's young still, surprisingly. He's still, I think, 21, and he might be just 22 entering the NFL. I just think that his drop issues, and he's just not better after the catch compared to Garrett Wilson. So, no disrespect to Chris Olave. I had him as my number 1 for a little bit before I watched him a little bit further when I started just randomly putting on Justin Fields tape for fun. Dallas Cowboys getting DeMarvin Leal. That's unbelievable steal, no pun intended, but he's absolutely unbelievable, and the Dallas Cowboys desperately need some help in that interior defensive front. Do not argue with me. I mean, if you want to look at it in depth, look at that franchise guy's video on his deep dive of the Dallas Cowboys, which, I mean, granted, some things, Marcus sometimes overrates / underrates certain positions, but I think he hit it right on the head, especially when it comes to the interior defensive line. It's a big hole with guys who need a lot of growth, and they're not ready. And DeMarvin Leal is ready. He's one of the best interior defensive linemen I've seen in a little bit. Tennessee Titans, Treylon Burks. So if you're going to be replacing somebody like Josh Reynolds, which you have on a 1-year contract, okay. He's a big dude. He's a monster. The Tennessee Titans aren't known for their pass attack. It's known for Derrick Henry and then opening up the pass attack. It just feels a little bit weird to me. This was definitely after the Julio Jones trade. So that definitely doesn't warrant them needing a wide receiver. Especially, I mean, Treylon Burks would fit perfectly. Of all the wide receivers, he'd be the best. He can fit in that slot role where Josh Reynolds is. And he's a big dude. But I think the offensive line could be something you look at. I think Dennis Kelly or something like that is their right tackle. And that's pretty bad. Obviously they spent a first-round pick 2 years ago on one. You know how that turned out. So, again, the offensive line is something that I would definitely continue looking at. Ben Jones – I honestly, the interior of the offensive line, I'm not a huge fan of, but I still think they're very talented. So it's nothing. I just think they're a little bit overrated, especially by Titans fans. So again, it's that right tackle spot that's a little bit worrisome to me. Can definitely be fixed. They did get Dylan Radunes, but again, he's athletically great, but physically, see his stub arms, man. personally, I think that he should take over for when Stafford's ready to leave. I think he can put on some weight and move in. But I mean, I seriously think, and Tennessee Titans showed that the fact that they need a tackle in this draft class, but also you need development there. And Derrick Henry ain't getting any younger. I think you need a day one impact. And if that's going to be somebody like Zion Nelson, do it. Do it. You need a day one impact. Raduns is going to be great in the long run, but you can't play the long run game with players that need to be benefited in the short run. Or you can go defense. That's another way. I know they went very defense heavy in this last draft class, so they did a good job. However, there's just certain points that I thought that they missed. Jets getting Christian Harris. I don't think Christian Harris was the best linebacker on Alabama, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. But obviously linebacker could definitely be something they look at. Jared Davis was somebody that they brought in for, if I'm not mistaken, a 1-year contract. So they definitely have that hole and recognized it. So I guess it would be pretty good. I just think there's other guys on the board that you can take and there's better value. So I think that you're reaching a little bit for a need, and that's not really the best option. You can even go a running back here if you wanted to. I think that's disrespectful to my boy Michael Carter. However, a 4th-round pick usually does not dictate what you're doing in the first round. Number 24, Colts, Garrett Wilson. That's a steal. I'm not going to talk about it. Dolphins, Booth from Clemson. I don't think Booth is a first-round pick. And I don't think the Dolphins – I mean, yeah, if you lose Xavier Howard, that would hurt. But you still have a really deep corner core, man. So that's probably one of the last positions I'd look at. If you're at 25, that means that Tua can bring you to the playoffs and at least get you somewhere. This is where I'd look at running back. You have the worst running back core in the entire NFL. And that's with me liking Salvian Ahmed, which I don't even know if you have him still. And also the other running back, I'm bugging on his name, Myles Gaskin. So, again, you guys knew how much I was like, dude, we need to be able, or we as the Dolphins need to be able to get Javonte Williams. And then we didn't. So, oof. Cleveland Browns, Ali Gay. Oh, that's a big projection of a jump. He was not going to be probably drafted if he declared last year. I understand that he has potential, right? He has really good potential. No, it's just, yeah. Like, look at this right here. If he didn't get home with pressure, he deflected 7 passes. That's great. That's a great foundation. It's just no. In the round 1, there's much better edges in this entire class. You want to go with the Browns? Maybe go with the guy, the Cincinnati guy that I'm bugging on his name. I'll figure it out in a minute. But the Cincinnati edge rusher, he is 10 times better than Ali Gay. Ever will be. He was thrusted into like the late second conversation after their game. So after their bowl game. So I mean, I think that he's going to progress a little bit more than Ali Gay. Just my thought. Bills, Michael Wright from Oregon. I don't know if Michael Wright's going to be a first-round corner. And also, this is very corner-heavy, especially with a team like the Bills, where they could definitely be looking at a guy like Brandon Joseph to be a nasty safety to eventually replace the aging safeties that they do have. Maybe a bit of an overstep. A little bit of an overstep. I think that they definitely could have went after either a running back for a true RB1, or else they could have went after safety right there. I think that would have been the best option. Detroit gained Jalen Tolbert. I am going to be honest, my All-22 plug does not have Jalen Tolbert tape. I am going to reserve my opinion about Jalen Tolbert for another time. However, I think Detroit Lions desperately need all the help they can get at wide receiver. But wide receiver is a great selection. I just don't believe Jalen Tolbert is going to be thrusted above other wide receiver talents, especially into the first round. But that is not an official opinion. Baltimore Ravens, Charles Cross. That's fine. That's fine. I don't think Charles Cross is great at all. Look at his PFF grades. He had 1 good game. I seriously think he's extremely overrated. However, I do think that there's desperation for a solid tackle there, especially since they have pretty much the rest of their line figured out. And also, I think that they have a pretty – I think that it's a great position to go after. I'm just not a fan of Charles Cross. Zion Nelson's there. I think that he's the best option. You can even look at Rasheed Walker out of Penn State. And then if you really want to go balls to the wall, which I don't think he is worth a first-round pick, Thayer Mumford maybe later on, and then go with a different route at this pick. Packers finally get a wide receiver. David Bell's not in my first. I don't think David Bell made my top 10. He made my top 10. I think he was a third-round guy to me. I didn't really see much from him. Definitely not a first-round guy for me. Broshma will disagree. However, definitely not a first-round guy. I don't even know if he's a first-round guy for Broshma. I don't think he is. Buccaneers, Isaiah Spiller. Okay. I mean, you don't really have much else to work on. So I personally think you should go after a guy like Lindstrom, who's amazing. Majai, there he is. The guy I was talking about earlier. But I think Lindstrom being not included on this list is a little bit ridiculous. I'm not thinking it's definitely, is it Lindstrom? It's Chris Lindstrom, right? From Iowa, the kid from Iowa. So I think that he's disrespected by not being on here, and I think he's an excellent safety. And there's a round 2, so I might be looking at round 2, but I don't think so right now, just to be able to give you guys some legit content and not start talking about people I don't know too much. Kansas City Chiefs, Myjai Sanders, excellent selection. You can never go wrong with pass rusher, especially when you're trying to chase a ring and you're pass rushing too good. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you on the far side. Peace.